Hi guys, it's Mano. How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. Today I'm reviewing a bit of a random one. You might be thinking, this is a weird one, but sometimes I like to go back in time. It's not always about the new stuff, you know. There are some golden oldies out there just waiting to be reviewed. So I wanted to review for you today Van Cleef by Van Cleef and Arpels. I kind of like this brand. I like this brand's older stuff, I should say. The newer releases have left me a little bit wanting more, but the reason I've chosen to review this is I got a sample of it because there was a lady that I used to work with who wore this as her signature. This was one of the things that I could smell all around our office, in a lift, everywhere I went. I knew that she was at work because she wore this, and looking it up, it's so affordable. So I wanted to review it to tell you how it smells, to see how you feel about it basically. So let's do it. So this is an Oriental Floral. It came out in 1993, the 90s, the golden age of perfumery in my mind. They don't make fragrances like they did in the 90s anymore. It just is really interesting. I'll tell you the notes, but firstly I want to say this doesn't feel like a 90s fragrance to me. It feels like an 80s fragrance. Not that there was a whack moment between 1989 and 1990 where perfumery just changed instantly. Of course there was a transitional period, but it just feels older than a 90s perfume. It feels like the Lulu days. I don't know, it's pretty cool. But anyway, let me give you the notes, otherwise I'll just never stop, ever. So the top notes are, and this is a really cool fragrance pyramid, so just be prepared. So the top notes are raspberry, galbanum, neroli, bergamot, and then the note that this fragrance centers around, which is marigold. Marigold at the forefront of a fragrance. I don't even know any other fragrances that have it in. Maybe have it in, but just not in this quantity anyway. The heart notes are geranium, rose, jasmine, and orange blossom, and then the base notes are some of the usual suspects: sandalwood, tonka, musk, vanilla, and cedar. But it's all about the way this smells rather than the note pyramid. So I'm going to start by saying that for the price, this stuff performs so well. I can say it firsthand because I've now worn it, and also this lady, I could always smell it on her. The sillage on this thing is a monster. Normally I talk about that kind of stuff at the end, but it's something to be noted for a fragrance that I don't think breaks the bank. And even if this has been reformulated, which I have no idea if it has or not, it is worth the money. It's an eau de parfum, and the way it projects and performs is just brilliant. So I'm going to just get that out of the way now. But how does it smell? So the opening is really unusual. Like I said, it feels very 80s, but you can feel at the beginning galbanum mainly. What is galbanum, you ask? I usually explain it in my videos because it is a strange note. Galbanum is a green resin that comes from this plant that looks like this. I'll post a picture of it somewhere. And it's kind of vegetal and sticky, and some people describe it as shelled peas or beans. I describe it as kind of carrot peelings. It's a sweet green resin that is so unusual and isn't used too much in quantities where you can really smell it in fragrances. There's a couple I can think of. Safari by Ralph Lauren has a lot of galbanum in it. You can smell this galbanum at first, but then you can also smell this floral element, which it isn't super like pollen sort of flowers, but this marigold is almost like a resin. It's really strange and really cool. It's so smooth and so well blended, and it's got a sour tang to it, and it's also quite sweet but not overly so. This isn't a cloying sweet vanilla bomb. It's got just the right amount of sweetness with green, which is a strange combination, but it really works. It's going to sound really weird, but ever since I was a kid, me and my friend Laura have talked about smells being either roundy, like bally, or like spiky, or I don't know, sharp, things like that. And this is definitely a round smell. It's kind of spherical. That is probably the weirdest thing I've ever said in a review. Oh my gosh. There's a powderiness that comes from this from somewhere. I'm guessing it's one of the flowers in the heart, or possibly even sandalwood. It's powdery, smooth, sweet, and kind of sticky, balmy, resinous feeling. There's a tiny bit of spice in the opening as well, which I'm not sure where that comes from. But the opening notes quickly descend into where it's going to go, so it's not, you're not waiting around for the heart or anything like that. You pretty much just get it straight away, apart from the galbanum backs off. this fragrance is just so expertly blended that it feels like one. It stays linear on me, but this marigold is such an interesting note on its own that I'm glad that it kind of sticks out at the front and the other flowers don't come into play. They're just supporting notes. You don't really feel them too much. I think they're creating the whole kind of aura of it, but the marigold is the star of the show, along with this galbanum, this greenness. So marigold, like I said, it's kind of sticky, it's almost resinous in feel as opposed to petally or polleny or anything like that. And the whole fragrance feels really cozy, really autumnal, really warm, and it's unique. I don't think I've smelled anything like this before. If it helps you guys along, this fragrance gets compared to Ciara by Revlon quite a bunch. I've never smelled that, so I can't vouch for it, but a lot of people say that, so I guess that's the realm that it's in. If you've ever smelled Ciara by Revlon, I have not. I probably should, because if I like this, I might like that. Note to self. But it's just really interesting. It's really, it's kind of feels glamorous and not, it's kind of verging on being vintage, but not. The composition is quite unusual with this galbanum and marigold together, that it feels kind of contemporary to my nose, but also vintage at the same time. And I love it when a fragrance strides or straddles two kind of things in my head, where it kind of pulls apart from, I feel like it's wearable now. I feel like it feels modern, but it also feels old. I don't know. But like I said, it's quite linear. It's not one-noted. There are enough characters in there that keep it interesting, but it almost feels like it would become part of you if you wore it. This woman it was just her. It was just, our office just smelled like this, and it was really pleasant. I can't say much more about it. Anyway, it's basically a green, sticky, resinous floral smell that's golden and interesting and feels like it's from the 80s, but kind of unusual enough to be released now. Really, really tough one, but I hope I did it justice. And it goes without saying, it performs so well. I've only worn it from swipe sample things. I haven't even sprayed it, and it performs so well just from kind of upending the thing like that. I can smell it for hours and hours, so I don't know what it is in here, but the composition works for me. Anyway, I hope that was a little bit of insight, even though it was a very, very tough review, but I wanted to do it because it's weird and cool. If you want to get this fragrance, they sell it over at natino.co.uk. I'll post a direct link below in the description box. It's relatively cheap there too. So yeah, go and check it out if you want to. Anyway, I'm Upshot, click my logo down there to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon for another video. Very, very soon. Goodbye.